Dr. Eli Morgan's hand trembled slightly as he stared into the alien's open mouth, dental instrument clutched in his grip. 15 years in the profession, service in the Mars colony, and even an emergency filling for an Andromean diplomat once. But this was something entirely different. Before him stood a Nexari, one of the most feared predatory species in the galaxy. The 3-meter-tall creature was covered in a greenish exoskeleton, its skull structure resembling a T-Rex, minus the metal implants and semi-organic cybernetic enhancements. The creature's jaw was locked in a fully open position, with one of its lower molars dangling in the oral cavity. Eli tucked his stethoscope into his pocket and adjusted his gloves. By my assessment, the tooth is completely fractured and currently hanging by nerve tissue alone, he said in a casual tone as if conducting a routine examination. I'll need to extract it. Station Commander Vexler furrowed his furry brows as he looked at the dentist. Even the 2-meter-tall Centauri appeared small next to the Nexari. Dr. Morgan, do you understand the gravity of the situation? This is Kazek Thrul, head guardian of the Nexari Empire, hero of the last 3 galactic wars, conqueror of 23 planets. And he's currently in pain because none of us dare put our hands inside that monster's mouth. Eli shrugged and began unpacking sterile equipment from his bag. The creature's dripping saliva created a light mist when it hit the station's metal floor, dissolving the surface. It's a tooth extraction, Commander. The difficult part is keeping him calm. My patients typically can't sit still. Vexler and the other aliens exchanged bewildered glances. The medical section of the station had fallen into a tense silence. Zek Thrul's guards had formed a 3-tiered semicircle, weapons clutched tightly. All were watching the human's madness unfold. Keeping him calm? Vexler whispered. Doctor, the last 4 individuals who tried to calm him were torn to pieces. 2 battalions had to use force to subdue him, and even that was just a temporary solution. Kazek Thrul suddenly roared, a sound that was part electronic, part primal scream, and tried to move his locked jaws, shredding the edge of the medical table. The Nexari's powerful tail slammed into the floor, shattering a control panel. Eli calmly continued preparing the syringe. In human dentistry, we call this white coat anxiety. Some patients are so afraid of dental examinations that they have panic attacks. Apparently, alien biology isn't so different. The doctor leaned toward the massive predator's head, which was spewing acidic saliva as if addressing a human patient. Sorry, friend, but this will hurt. However, I promise you'll feel much better in a few minutes. Vexler, who had survived 17 combat missions and 3 alien invasions as commander, was now more hesitant than he'd ever been. He placed his hand on Eli's shoulder. Dr. Morgan, these beings are destroyers. They've devastated planets, ended civilizations. They have 0 tolerance for pain or resistance. Eli gave Commander Vexler a warm smile. Commander, consider this. Even the fiercest creatures are helpless against a toothache. Pain is universal, and I'm here to relieve it. The doctor adjusted his gloves and filled a large syringe. Now, I need assistance. I need to get close for the anesthesia. Vexler's uneasiness was evident on his face, but he sent 2 assistants anyway. The soldiers' faces were pale. They thought they were being sent to their deaths. Eli raised the needle and approached Kazek Thrul's cheek. Now, you'll just feel a little pinch. Stay calm. The Nexari let out a tremendous growl when it saw the needle and tried to move its jaws, its pupils focused with laser-like precision. If it strained any more, the tooth would completely detach and potentially cause a fatal infection. Kazek Thrul reacted exactly as a human child would when told to stay calm. He became more agitated. With almost supernatural speed, he slammed his tail against the metal floor, sending a soldier flying. Eli lowered the needle and tilted his head thoughtfully. With dozens of alien eyes watching him, he removed his coat and rolled up his sleeves. Vexler wondered what the human would do next. Perhaps the aliens were right. Perhaps humans truly were insane. Dr. Morgan rummaged through his pockets and pulled out a lighter, then opened his bag and found a small metal box. What are you doing? Vexler asked tensely. Eli opened the box and took out a small stick. This is a very old calming technique from Earth, said Eli as he brought the stick to his lips. He lit a small flame and gently ignited the end of the stick. We call this mint. It contains menthol, a calming scent for most mammalian species. The aliens in the room looked at each other in astonishment. Humans truly were surprising beings. Was he hoping to calm the galaxy's most dangerous creature with a burning plant stem? Even Kazek Thrall seemed to hesitate while watching this strange sight, his roars diminishing. Eli gently moved the mint stick toward the Nexari's massive nostrils. "There, smell it. It will make you feel better." Unexpectedly, Kazek Thrall took a sharp breath. His eyelids fluttered. His massive chest began to rise and fall slowly. The Nexari guards immediately raised their weapons, but Commander Vexler stopped them with a hand gesture. Something was happening. The giant creature was now breathing more calmly and continued to smell the burning mint stick. "Impossible," Vexler whispered. Eli smiled. Most mammalian species respond positively to menthol aroma. It has a calming effect on some predatory species. He slowly prepared the needle. "I always keep mints at my clinic on Mars. Even the most agitated colonists calm down when they smell it." Kazek Thrall was now docile. His eyelids heavy, his muscular body relaxed. The human boldly moved the needle toward the monster's lower jaw. "Now, you'll just feel a small prick." The anesthesia was slowly injected into the Nexari's mouth. Eli worked with gentle but determined movements, one hand placed beside the creature's tongue while positioning the needle with the other. All eyes were on him. No one dared to breathe. Seconds passed and the doctor stepped back. "Good. Now let's wait for it to take effect." Vexler was amazed. You stuck the needle in and he didn't kill you?" Eli disposed of the needle in a medical waste container. "Look, Commander, I'm just doing my job. In our species dentistry, we treat babies and small children. We use special techniques to comfort and calm them." Kazek Thrall is a bit larger than what I'm used to, yes, but the principle is the same. If you agitate a frightened patient, they only become more frightened and more dangerous. The alien commander struggled to comprehend the human's relaxed demeanor. "How can you be so calm? He's a planet-destroying entity. If you hurt him, he could swallow you in one bite." Eli shrugged as he prepared his instruments. "Is that so? Interesting. Right now, he's just my patient, and he needs my help." The Nexari's eyelids grew heavy and his body relaxed under the effect of the anesthesia. His tail no longer thrashed violently, but merely dragged lazily across the floor. Eli prepared his tools, specialized forceps for tooth extractions, hemostats, and a suture kit. The aliens watched the human in silence. "This part might get a bit bloody," said Eli, putting on a transparent protective mask. "During medical school, I worked with Earth's large felines. Lions, tigers, jaguars. Their dental structure is similar to the Nexari's. Just, his is a bit larger." Vexler wondered what these tiger creatures from Earth were like. If humans could treat them, perhaps Kazek Thrall wasn't so intimidating to a human after all. Eli set aside the mint stick and approached the Nexari's mouth. The tooth that needed extraction was now completely loose, hanging by just a few nerve tissues. A mixture of blood and acidic saliva dripped from the edge of the table. A nervous guard whispered, "The smell of his blood might wake him. Blood scent is a trigger for Nexari." Vexler swallowed anxiously. "Dr. Morgan, please hurry." Eli looked up, his eyes sharp and focused. "Commander, if I rush and make a mistake, then we'll have a real problem. Please be quiet. This is a delicate procedure." Everyone in the medical bay froze. A human had just commanded an Imperial commander, while his hands were inside a Nexari's mouth, no less. Vexler didn't object. He simply nodded. Eli carefully positioned the forceps, using one hand to press down the creature's massive tongue. "Now you might feel a little pulling," he said gently, as if the creature could understand him. The forceps gripped the tooth, and Eli began pulling with a determined, controlled motion. Everyone in the medical bay held their breath. Beads of sweat appeared on Eli's forehead, but the calm expression on his face remained unchanged. Finding the right angle, he gently but firmly removed the tooth. Eli held up the creature's enormous tooth with a triumphant smile. It was incredibly large, even by human standards, almost the size of a palm. There was a dark sign of infection at the root of the tooth. "So, this was our problem," said Eli, examining the tooth. "The tooth had decayed, and an infection had started. If you had waited a few more days, blood poisoning would likely have developed." He placed the tooth in a specimen container and immediately began cleaning the open socket in the creature's mouth. One of the guards whispered, This human is either incredibly brave or completely insane. With natural movements, Eli rinsed the inside of the Nexari's mouth with a sterile solution. This is an antimicrobial solution. It will prevent the infection from spreading. Now I'll close the wound. Wexler intervened just as the doctor was positioning the suture needle. Dr. Morgan, how long will the anesthesia last? Because... Eli glanced at the guards and the concerned Wexler, then returned to his sutures. Don't worry, Commander. Even if the Nexari metabolism is faster than I estimated, we have at most 10 minutes. That will be sufficient. With quick but meticulous movements, he continued placing the sutures. The aliens watched the human's calmness with amazement. How could a life form be so composed? Eli completed the final suture and cut the thread. Now, let's give him something for pain control during the healing process. I also recommend an antibiotic course to completely clear the infection. One of the guards immediately objected. Impossible! No foreign substance is compatible with Zekthrol's metabolism. The human's medicines could kill him. Eli pulled a small bottle from his bag. This is a special formulation. We developed it for the Mars colony. It's compatible with most humanoid metabolisms and will likely work with Nexari physiology too. We'll start with a low dose. Wexler nodded, not entirely convinced. Dr. Morgan, the Nexari race is feared across 5 different star systems because no medication works on them. They're naturally resistant. Eli nodded as if he understood Wexler's concern. Commander, pain is universal, and painkillers generally work on many species. We'll start with a low dose. Eli drew a small dose from the bottle into a syringe. Just as he was positioning the needle, Zekthrol's massive body began to tremble. His eyes opened rapidly. The anesthesia was wearing off. Quickly, doctor! Wexler shouted as the guards raised their weapons. Eli didn't move. He calmly held the syringe and approached the Nexari's giant arm. Zekthrol's eyes opened. He felt his sutured mouth and began to roar. Everyone in the medical bay backed away, except Eli. The doctor remained in place. Hello, he said calmly, as if addressing a normal patient who had just awakened. I extracted your tooth. It won't hurt anymore, but I need to give you one more injection for your recovery. The Nexari scanned the room, the guards, Wexler, and, most importantly, Eli. He roared, probably questioning how this small creature dared to touch him. The guards aimed their weapons. Wexler shouted, "Don't fire! Too dangerous for the station!" Zekthrol began swinging his tail threateningly. Eli still hadn't moved. "Don't make this difficult," he said, his voice soft but authoritative. "I helped you. Now let me finish my job." Incredibly, the Nexari seemed to hesitate. He studied the human at length. His tail was still swinging dangerously, but he wasn't ready to attack. "Look, your pain is gone, isn't it?" Eli continued. "Now this medicine will kill the germs and ensure you heal completely." Wexler and the other aliens couldn't believe their eyes. The Nexari made a series of normally incomprehensible electronic and organic sounds, then slowly, very slowly, extended his arm toward the human. It was a sign of approval. "Good," said Eli with relief. "This might hurt a little, but it won't take long." He inserted the needle into the monster's arm and injected the medication. Zekthrol didn't react. Everyone in the room held their breath. The syringe emptied, and Eli stepped back. "Now, you should take this medicine twice daily for a week. Also," he pulled a small bottle from his pocket, "this is mouthwash. It will prevent bacteria from entering the wound." Zekthrol reached for the massive weapon at his side. Wexler held his breath. Even Eli paused. The Nexari gripped his weapon and returned it to its holster. Then, unexpectedly, he bent toward the human, a sign of respect, a gesture common in many warrior cultures. "What is he doing?" whispered a guard. Wexler smiled. "I think he's thanking him." Eli responded with a gentle nod. "You're welcome. Come back if you need anything." Zekthrol straightened up and walked toward the exit. His guards, in a state of shock, followed their leader as he proceeded through the station corridors. Only Eli and Wexler remained in the room. The commander took a deep breath. "Dr. Morgan, you've made history today. As far as I know, you're the first person to help a Nexari and survive." Eli closed his bag and removed his gloves. "I don't distinguish between my patients based on species, Commander. Everyone experiences toothaches. Everyone needs help." Vexler gazed into the human's eyes for a long moment. Today, I witnessed a Nexari showing respect to a human. This is incredible. Why do you think he didn't attack you? Under normal circumstances, when he woke up, Eli thought as he washed his hands. I think he understood that I wasn't the source of his pain. I was the one relieving it. Perhaps some things truly are universal. Vexler walked toward the data panel where he reviewed station protocols. I need to report to the Federation about a potential diplomatic opening with the Nexari. What happened today could change the relationship between our species. Eli smiled as he dried his hands. You know, Commander, sometimes the best diplomacy is simply a helping hand. Our species learned that on Earth long ago. Vexler looked at the human carefully. I'm beginning to learn a lot about humans, Doctor. 2 weeks later, Dr. Eli Morgan was continuing his daily routine. Dental checkups for Mars colonists, a few fillings, routine procedures. He had become a hero among the station crew, earning the nickname the Nexari dentist, though he just laughed it off. The real surprise came when he received a call from the station command center. Dr. Morgan, please come to the main hangar immediately, said Vexler's voice. Eli was concerned. Was there an emergency? When he arrived at the hangar, he was met with an astonishing sight. Vexler and a group of station personnel were standing in front of an enormous Nexari warship, and on the landing ramp, accompanied by a group of other warriors, stood Kizek Thrall. What's happening? Eli asked as he approached Vexler. The commander smiled. Apparently, a group of Nexari warriors has arrived seeking the advice of a dental professional. Eli looked up in amazement. Behind Kizek Thrall were at least 6 more Nexari, all legendary warriors, tactical geniuses, and planet conquerors, and they all appeared to have come to visit Eli's small dental clinic on the station. Doctor, said Kizek Thrall, his voice audible through an electronic translator. We fought without pain. Your treatment was valuable. The Nexari took a step toward the human. Everyone in the hangar tensed, but Kizek Thrall merely extended his arms and presented the human with a small, shining object. Eli carefully took the object. It resembled a medallion made of a brilliant metal. This is a Nexari war honor, Vexler explained, his voice filled with awe. It's only given to the greatest warriors. Eli examined the medallion and smiled. Thank you, but I'm just a dentist. Kizek Thrall made an incomprehensible sound in human language. His translator immediately converted it. Anyone who faces pain is a warrior. You defeat pain. Vexler chuckled softly. I think the Nexari have found a new saying, as brave as a dentist. Eli pocketed the medallion and took a step toward his patients. Well then, let's see who's first. And so, in the medical section of Station 7, an ordinary dentist from Earth began serving the galaxy's most feared warriors. And on distant planets, a new legend began to spread, a legend about humans who refused to bow even to fear.